Here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the newest, baddest show out there on the internet, the Robb Crocker Show. Oh, you disagree?
Yeah, it's a good show, but it ain't the baddest because we ain't finished yet. Okay, go ahead.
Give me a second to introduce this thing, all right, Don?
Go for it.
My name is Alex. I am here bringing you the Robb Crocker Show. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to a man you may recognize. He's been on the political spectrum for a while, you may say. This is the Don Miller Show, joining us right now.
Hey, listen, thank you so much, everybody. The Robb Crocker Show brought to you by, today, Basic Cigars. Listen, Basic Cigars and the Cigar guys, they are sitting with us tonight. We just want to thank people who help people. Myself and the host of this show, the stalwart of this show, Robb Crocker, we have this thing about thanking people who help people. And we want to thank the Basic Cigar guys, the founders of Basic Cigar, of course, and we are going to have a great conversation tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And there he is right over there. He is from the country of North Carolina, my friend, Robb Crocker. Hey, Robb.
Well, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I think tonight just shows how important it is to have quality people around you to allow you to succeed. That is what America is about.
No question.
So, to get this started, this country was founded on being free, the land of the free. And somehow we have managed to get to the land of the lost. I don't know why that is. That's a question that you need to look at yourself in the mirror and ask. Are you better today than you were yesterday? I think that is a question that you need to ask yourself every morning. And if you're not, self-evaluate and see what you could do to be a better person, to add value to your community, add value to the state you live in, and add value to the country we all love.
Okay, shout this out real quick. Subscribe and like. Hit that button. That way you will receive notifications when the Robb Crocker Show is live. Also, if you want to Gmail the Robb Crocker Show, Gmail the Crocker, Crocker show at Gmail, where you can talk directly to our host, Robb Crocker. And we just want to thank you for joining us. Very important. Tonight, America is at crisis. And if you don't believe America is at crisis, you go back to the last 2 years, the last 24 months, and you watched how a meme, a laughable meme, an incompetent laughable meme by the name of Kamala Harris has become the alleged nominee for the President of the United States on the Democratic ticket. If you go back 3 years ago, that's 36 months, and look how a laughable meme, Kamala Harris, former Attorney General in California, former state attorney in San Francisco, who identified as an Indian woman in 37 interviews, have become the black woman nominee for the President of the United States, Kamala Harris, and now she is a black woman running for President of the United States. Now she's not a meme anymore. Now she's a brilliant scholar. And how does this happen in America? As you know, Joe Biden showed his face today after many days of missing in the most tumultuous political time we have seen. And he shows up today after many have been asking the question, where is the president? So we saw him today. He was headed to the White House. He made a statement endorsing this presidential nominee. And he made it on his personal letterhead, not on presidential letterhead. Many say the signatures didn't match. Well, maybe that don't count to many. But what is going on? Robb Crocker, tell us a little bit about what you're seeing as a guy who spends a lot of time watching how this works.
The unfortunate part about it is every person in America is controlled by a newspaper or a news organization. It's up to you what you're reading, what you're seeing, and that individual telling you this. You have to decide, are what you're hearing is that true? And what I'm seeing is that true. For the past 2 months, we've heard that Donald Trump wanted to be, and is going to be, a dictator if he's reelected. Well, the opposite has happened from the Democratic Party as 14 million people put their vote in for Joe Biden. And the polls did not resonate to show that Joe Biden was going to beat Donald Trump. So the Democratic Party unilaterally took your vote and said it does not matter. Joe Biden, you're out. We're going to put Kamala Harris in. And I'm not sure that Kamala Harris is going to make it to the end, because now that this has happened, once the polling shows that she can't win, what's to stop them?
But Rob, look at right now. So the polling right now, last night I looked at Quinnipiac, one of the largest polls in America, one of the largest polls in American history, Quinnipiac University, where the numbers still lean significantly toward Donald Trump. But I'm watching today as people are saying, and some of the polls, and we know polls can be distorted, one of the polls are saying that she is now beating Donald Trump in the polls. For many Americans, as the lady I met today at the gas station who says, how did the polls shift? And I just said, ma'am, I don't know if the polls shifted. But if you understand who controls the narrative, who controls the media, it's easily to shift the polls. Historically, in the last 4 years, we can go look, African Americans had no interest in supporting Kamala Harris. Many of those know her history.
You got to go back.
Yeah.
When she originally ran, she got zero votes.
None. Zero.
So I'm going to use the word token. That's what Kamala Harris is. She's the token woman. She's the token African American.
She's not an African American, sir. Listen, stop it. Okay?
Indian.
You don't want to say
Asian,
it, but
Jamaican?
I'll say it. She is everything but African American. And she has acknowledged historically, if you go look at her and read about her, she only claimed African American, Gonzo, when she decided she was going to be a president of the United States. So we have to be careful and clear. The history of American politics is such that if you are selected before you are elected, your move toward the top spot is much easier. And I believe that the Democratic Party needed the $240+ million that could only go to her if she retained the nominee or the nomination for a certain period of time. I'm looking forward to the Democratic Convention in Chicago next month and see how she is accepted. Many people believe, and
I don't think the Democratic Convention is going to be accepted. I think there's too many African Americans in Chicago that are disgruntled and not want any part of it. The largest Palestinian people in the United States
is within 3.5 hours
4
from
hours
Chicago.
away to drive there.
Yes.
So is the media going to hide the pictures in the videos that shows we support Hamas?
Well, again, if you recall, you go back to 1969 in Chicago during the Vietnam War, when Lyndon Baines Johnson decided in March of that year that he would walk away and did not want to be the president of the United States. First thing that Lyndon Baines Johnson did, guys, is Lyndon Baines Johnson wrote his letter on presidential White House letterhead in his resignation, saying that he would not seek the presidency again. So his letter, unlike Joe Biden's, came out on White House letterhead. Joe Biden's letter came out on his personal Joseph Biden.
You know why
letterhead.
that did not happen, right?
Yes.
Because he was in Delaware. There was no letterhead there.
That's good.
All right, let's get back to what and who is the real threat to democracy. Is it Donald Trump or is it a Democratic Party?
Well, the critical thinker believes, quite frankly, if you understand how this works, is that a threat to democracy is definitely a coup. We've seen coups all over this world. We've seen many coups in Africa. We've seen coups in many countries. A coup is a movement toward taking away and not recognizing the duly elected person by the people.
I think that Joe Biden and Donald Trump were almost victims of the same coup.
Absolutely.
Think about it. Donald Trump nearly gets assassinated right before the RNC. Try to eliminate him, get someone else in there. Shortly after that, Biden supposedly steps down with it on his own will, we'll assume, before the DNC to throw someone else in there, whether it's Kamala or whether it's going to be someone else. We don't know yet. But that's exactly what's happening, is the takeover of democracy. Your vote doesn't matter. The people that you wanted to be running are not going to be running anymore.
So, Crocker, is that the real threat to democracy when we look right before our eyes, a duly elected 14 million plus people in primaries across this country gave their vote to Joe Biden, not Kamala Harris? Nobody voted for her. If you recall in the primary when she ran for president, she polled last to such an extent she immediately left the race. She polled last and did not win California.
Ironically, in the past, they knew what was coming down the pipe, because very rarely has any president ever listed their vice president on the monetary side. This happened this time, so she has the ability to get the money.
Well, the $240+ million that has been raised by Joe Biden under the guidelines, under the rules, could only go to the vice president of the United States if that person moves toward the nomination in the party. We just heard breaking news today that the delegates, more than 1,500 delegates, had quietly given her the thumbs up to be the nominee. So she's the nominee, allegedly.
And all this was done in the dark of night.
Absolutely.
Not a single American citizen had the ability to say one word about it.
Right.
Super. It's amazing to me.
Yes.
So what I want everybody to do is I want you to vote for common sense America. I don't want you to vote because you don't like somebody. I don't want you to vote because someone's a woman. I don't want you to vote because someone has orange skin. The ethnicity, the gender has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight, Don. What really matters is America. That's what matters. When you wake up in the morning, are you better off than you were today? Are you protected? Is there a Russian submarine off the coast of Cuba? Do we have American soldiers in Ukraine? The chaos that the people have created is killing this country, killing the spirit of this country.
Well, when you look at it outside of the gate, I think the great step back should be acknowledging that too many of us, Gonzo, and you and I have talked about this a long time, are engaged in voting for personality and not policy. Personality is not going to make America better. Personality is not going to change your circumstances, nor will it change the struggle in which you engage in from day to day, no matter what it be. I think policy can do that, and if we attach ourselves to policy again, no matter what the ethnicity or gender, I think if the person is in line with the policies that make your life better, I think we have to pull away from personality and engage in the vote as it relates to policy. Who supports the policies? Who's going to make your life better? And it's amazing to me, Crocker, you and I have this conversation a lot. This whole narrative that Donald Trump is the next Hitler and he is a threat to democracy. But we've seen him 4 years in a row as president of the United States. And if you go back, and the problem is we continue to let our history be a mystery. The problem is, how was America under the presidency of Donald Trump? You know how to like Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump needs to shut up sometime. I say it all the time. If he just shut the fuck up, he would be an amazing president.
If he lived by Crocker's 3 words, there would not be anybody bitching and complaining. Less is more. Hide under the radar. Let your actions speak for yourself, and people would see what really happened.
Again, thank you so much. Like and subscribe. We are on the Robb Crocker Show tonight. This is our installment, first show. Shout out to the guys at Besa Cigars. How can they find Besa Cigars?
Go to basacigar.com or thecigarguys.com. Everything's linked together. You can find our podcast. You can find our products as well. We do have a question actually from the audience from Justin Phillips. He asks, what do you have to say about the younger generation that do not have any interest in politics because they see it as a failing system?
The unfortunate part about it, Justin, is politics is a way of life for our country. But we're talking about the highest level of politics. But what really impacts our country starts in your community. When you're voting for your local councilman, and the most important people you vote for in your community is the school board.
Yep.
Because they have the greatest ability to change the future with the guidance and the teaching that they teach our children. Because if a child doesn't know how valuable America really is, they're never going to give a damn about it.
What are your thoughts on this question, Jared?
I think the school board is very important, and that's like 8 hours of everyone's lives from K through 12, where you're essentially alone. The only adults that you have are the teachers. The only adults you have are the principals. These people are over 18 years old. They are in charge of you. They're authoritative figure when you are young. I think it's very important to have a strong school board system that can either stay out of politics or definitely not push any agendas on our youth and allow them to grow freely within America. But I think it's very important that they learn politics at a young age because it's going to affect them their entire lives.
Great. I think you guys are correct. And I have always, for many years, as you know, Gonzo, I've seen it as politricks, not politics. And
Yes.
when the parties become bigger than the problem, we move toward crisis in this country. J.D. Vance called Donald Trump everything but a child of God, yet he was picked to be the running mate of Donald Trump. Kamala Harris said Joe Biden, quite frankly, was a racist and a perv, and she was picked to be vice president of the United States, which drives a conversation to many young people and many people who are new to the conversation. Well, why are they picking people that hate them? And it's not that they're picking people that hate them. They're picking people that can win a region for them or can bring somebody to the conversation that they did not have the ability to lure in. Correct?
I would agree, absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'm going to throw a curveball in there. The teachers and the teachers union, they devastated this country when COVID was going on. I don't know why, but unfortunately, they had an agenda. I think you, as a mom, as a dad, you need your own agenda. You send your child to a school every morning. What is it you want your child to be taught? Do I think it's appropriate to have a non-binary teacher when a child is 4 years old and that teacher is telling them to call her or him Mr. and Mrs.? Children are a sponge. When they're at that age, they're going to soak in whatever it is. So you as a parent, me personally, I want them to learn values. I want them to learn strength. I want them to learn honor. To where when they come home, they can tell me something positive. I don't want them to come home and tell me that, Mom, Dad, I don't know who the hell my teacher is. It's crazy.
But again, there's a bigger conversation to that. Again, thank you so much for that point. It is the Robb Crocker Show. My name is Don Miller. I'm just sitting my black ass in here with these people and smoking a cigar. They told me they had cigars and drinks. You know I was coming. This is very important, guys. I think that goes to the fact how we should abolish the Federal Department of Education. I think the Department of Education should be attached to states. And once we allow the federal government to be at the head of the money that's coming for education, then all of these narratives, Crocker, is going to come from the people that are driving the narratives, driving the conversation toward the LGBTQXI, them homosexual, that's going over there.
The alphabet people.
Yeah, the alphabet people. And I think the problem is, if you look at California, you notice, I don't know if you notice, Gavin Newsom's name did not appear on any of the short lists just recently in regards to presidential vice presidents, as a matter of fact, for Kamala Harris.
Do you know why that is?
Because Gavin Newsom has screwed California up. If you look at Gavin Newsom, how could he win California when he was recalled in California? When was the last time a governor...
Is California a part of the United States?
Allegedly.
Everyone wants to defect. Where do they want to go? Florida. The Sunshine
We're
State.
full.
Full capacity.
We don't need any more of them.
Yeah, we're full.
I think people need to remember, when you leave where you're living, ask yourself why
There's a
you
reason.
are leaving. So when you leave there, do not go to your new community and bring the reason you left to that area, because all you're going to do is destroy it.
It's going to turn into the place you left, essentially.
Yeah, and I think it's important, if you go look at the legislation that Gavin Newsom has not only sponsored as governor of that state, but just recently signed off on legislative action that says a child does not have to inform the parents, or the school does not have to inform the parents if the child is interested in moving toward another gender. What the fuck is that?
Here's the problem
Sorry,
with all of this.
I cussed a little bit
Here's
when I'm
the
drinking.
problem with all of this. Every educator, young people go to high school, young people go to college. They decide they're going to graduate with a degree in associate arts, which is fine. Then someone
It's not fine. Ain't no damn associate arts. You
But then
stop.
someone wants to be an
You stop
educator.
it, okay?
Someone wants to be an educator.
Right.
Well, right off the bat, they're at the minimum totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
What motivates them to get excited to go to work? It's not money. So, in my personal opinion, if you're going to be an educator in this country, I think you should sign a contract with your school board and your county and your state that you unequivocally love America, and you will teach your children how great this country is instead of bringing people down. Let them know how wonderful it is. When people are upset because the flag is in the classroom or the Pledge of Allegiance is said, why? Ask yourself why. Because they want to bring the country down. So then those people leave college who have listened to all these professors teach them bogus BS about how America sucks. Well, every one of those people, they're not concreted in the ground to be here. If there's something better, go do it. Don't mess up our children.
You sound like an angry white man.
I'm an angry man. I'm a black-hearted pirate who's pissed.
Okay.
And the bottom line is, when it's all said and done, you, as a parent, can control what happens to your child.
I think if parenting was parenting in America, that would be an amazing statement. The fact of the matter, if you look at the data, there are segments in this country that the word parent does not exist.
So ask me, why would a teacher not sign this contract? You want to teach our children, what are you going to teach them? A curriculum that no one agrees on? It's very factual. America was founded. They came here. No one can, I bet children can't even name all the states in the United States now.
And why do they need to, is the question.
Because without history, you don't know where you've come from. To learn, you don't want to go somewhere else.
Absolutely. And I think we have attached ourselves to a narrative of allowing our history to be a mystery. And I think that's a challenge for us. I think when you look at it, the denial of one's history has taken an amazing place in the society today. I think if you looked at what has jumped past understanding who you are, LGBT, transgender movement has jumped past who you are and the story of how you got here. Listen, I believe strongly that we are living in a moment of narrative. Everything is about a narrative. Who's pushing the agenda? We don't even ask anymore. And it just goes back to the fact that Kamala Harris for the last 3.5 years has been a laughing stock on social media, on all platforms, even with the black people. If you go to the Shade Room and all the black websites, she's been a joke. And now the black people are standing together and trying to save the alleged black woman who never even told you, Negroes, she was black.
The American Federation of Teachers, head of the union, Randy Weingarten.
Randy is a bitch.
She had a complete meltdown.
I'm sorry, that was inappropriate.
We love you. So, but she historically supports far left political agendas.
Right. That's where they get their money from, Crocker.
I hear you. But guess what? That does not benefit our children. It goes back to who controls the kids. It's not a teacher. It's the parent who goes into that school board meeting and says, listen, you're not teaching my children this garbage. I think everybody should be included. I think everybody should have the opportunity to succeed in this country, no doubt. But do I think a teacher should have the ability to influence your child or your child or your child to be a boy or a girl? That's absolutely not. Then you go one step forward. You get into middle school, and then you have boys that decide, I'm a girl. I want to play girls' sports. Man, I grew up, no matter what, do never hit a girl. You never hit a girl. And now you got boys who can't win in boys' sports playing girls' sports. I don't know if they have something wrong with them, but I know that can't happen. Never.
But
then
think
you
about
get to college, then you get to...
But Crocker, you and I come from a different time. I want to ask Gonzo, and I want to ask the young guys in the studio, starting with you, Gonzo. When you look at this, because they're telling us that the youth movement is supporting all of this ridiculous-ass nonsense. Tell me what you're seeing as a young guy who, in the last 15 years, you were in high school. And tell me what you're seeing. What are your thoughts on this? Anybody can play sports and be engaged in any box they want to be engaged in. What are your thoughts?
I think realistically, the younger people are just like the rest of us in terms of most of us really actually don't care about all that BS. Mm-hmm. Most of us want to go to school and learn what we need to learn, get a good job, raise a family, and be left alone. There's a small group of loud people that want to be a man in a woman's sports. They want to do all these crazy things. They want to be a part of a new movement called the LGBT, whatever. Most kids nowadays aren't about it. It's just the loud, annoying kids that are able to take the spotlight. Just like with every demographic, the loud, annoying ones are the ones that make the news.
And you're interesting. You're 100% right. Go ahead.
I completely agree. I feel like the biggest issue here is you're seeing a lot of social issues come into, from politics, which should be in politics to begin with, come into the classroom. I think that regardless of who you are, what you do behind closed doors, consensually, why is that coming into a classroom full of minors for any kind of agenda or influence whatsoever? It shouldn't even reach the classroom. Like, if you sign up to be a history teacher, American history teacher, you should teach American history, and then they go home. It's only 45 minutes. You have 7 periods, and then you go home. They have homework,
Ask
and that's
yourself,
it.
Teacher, we want you to sign a contract with this county schools that you will protect these children and you will teach them how great this country is. How many teachers would sign that contract?
It'd be very interesting. But going back to what Don was saying, if you get rid of, from a federal level, how do you enforce that down to the states?
Well, it's no different than one of the biggest controversial issues in this election, abortion. Every state, house, they vote on how they want their state to be run. So, if you want your state to have that option, the house in that state votes This is what we're going to hold our educators to. Just like every state, whether it's whatever state, the people in that state vote for the laws they live by. And I think that's the way it should be.
You know, it's interesting you say that because when we look at not only, I think the conversation about states' rights is a conversation that has kind of shifted and gone away. I believe that a lot of the issues that we talk about on a federal level should be states' rights, the conversation of the state. But when you look at it, Crocker, you and I talk about this all the time, mass incarceration in America. If you look at the numbers of people incarcerated in this country based on the federal guidelines, it's appalling. The prison industrial complex was designed and written, quite frankly, by Joe Biden and his minions and his mentors, Strom Thurmond, Robert Byrd, and Jim Stennis, the segregationist, racist piece of shit Republican from Mississippi, who guided him as a young senator from Delaware. Let's talk about that. Let's shift over to that. If you look at the incarceration numbers, Crocker, what does that say to you when you look at how many people, nonviolent criminal offenders, fall among the 2 million incarcerated individuals in this country, and how many should not even be there?
Right now, tomorrow morning, every non-violent criminal who is incarcerated for a cannabis charge should be let go out of jail and his record expunged. Because what people don't understand, as society has kept moving forward, that person with that criminal record is behind the 8 ball for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
They can't get credit. They can't go get an apartment, because when all of this is ran, so they are going to be behind everyone else for a simple marijuana charge.
Ask yourself this too.
Where marijuana is legal in over 32 states right now. So when you really want to look at what's going on, let the people go who are in custody for non-violent crimes that are cannabis related. Because if first offense, 1 year,
Yeah.
with a $1,000 fine, which most of the people can't pay. And 3.75% more African Americans are arrested for marijuana. And it's all because of the circumstances they're living in. The police find them, they have a little bit, they go to court, they go to jail. The white man or white woman gets caught, they hire an attorney, they get out.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, ask yourself this, and if that's something you believe, who on the big stage right now was a big proponent of putting these people in jail due to nonviolent marijuana-related crimes?
Well, the history of it, if you go look at it, has been Joe Biden, who created a cottage industry called the prison industrial complex, private prisons, and the former attorney general in California, who incarcerated more black males than 4 governors prior to her combined. Let's check out something that the people are saying, Gonzo. You see anything out there?
We've got a lot of positive words of encouragement, including Crocker for president. Glad to call you a great friend, great show. Keep up the good work. Love you guys. Value, strength, and honor is the parents' job.
Okay, again, I love the whole conversation about the parents' job, but many of us who come from disenfranchisement,
Yeah.
I think that's a conversation we got to have. Let's talk. If you want to talk about parents, when you look at the number.
Let me finish one thing.
Go ahead, Croc.
We talk about money. I don't think people realize how much it actually costs to keep someone incarcerated. It is $32,000 a year in the state level for every inmate. When you get to the federal level, it's $44,000. So, is the system working? Absolutely not. There has to be a way. And I'm all for corporal punishment. You kill somebody and you're found guilty, I think you should be put in the street, decapitated, and I guarantee you crime goes down. But,
Well, the data don't say that.
well, fear no man, fear no evil, dance with the devil.
Walk with the angels.
That's right.
Okay.
But I will say this too, back to the parent conversation. You have the Democrats like Hillary Clinton saying things such as it takes a village to raise a child. Let's go with that for a little bit. You have teachers that have been given basically the right to teach your kids whatever, regardless of whatever agenda it is.
Right.
But you're not allowing the parents to come in and make changes for the better in the schools. People go in front of the school board to share their opinions and say, hey, we don't like what our kids are being taught. We think it goes against our values. And they get shut down, kicked out, thrown out. So the whole village is not even involved in this whole theory of theirs.
You know, what's a village? I think when I hear that dumb shit,
Agreed.
I've heard a long time, the village raising a child. What's a village? And when you look at the conversation about village raising children, I don't know who said that. It had to be a white person.
It was a white woman.
It was a white woman. Okay, I figured it was a Caucasian woman.
It was a woke white.
Okay, it was a woke white. And beware woke whites. I've
You
been saying
remember
that for a
Kamala
long
said
time.
we didn't fall out of a coconut tree too,
Okay,
right?
but who you said?
You
said that?
exist in the context of who you are and what you are. I don't even know what she said.
AI, that's A and I. A, it's for artificial intelligence. The fact of the matter is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can send a kid to college, but you can't make him think. The fact of the matter is, they keep saying, and I heard somebody say this, I wanted to cuss her out, but she was too old. I'm trying to get to heaven. This lady says to me one day, Crocker, she says to me at our watering hole, she says, you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Now, I wanted to tell this white lady, white lady, let me explain something to you. You can teach him to fish, yet not give him access to the river.
Wow.
How does that help?
Somebody better teach him how to clean the fish.
Again,
If they can't get fish, though, that's a problem.
that's the problem. You can teach him to fish and not give him access to the river. He's still in a
Well,
jam.
speaking of fishing in rivers, the people we're talking about tonight, I think about it every time I travel across the country and I go to small towns. The small towns are destroyed. Why are they destroyed? Because there's been a Democratic governor, Democratic mayor, Democrat leadership. What are the 1, 2, 3, 4 things you always see in an African American community? Bail bondsman, pawn shop, Dollar General, and a police station.
And you forgot one. Dialysis centers now.
So,
No, for real.
if you
the
live,
largest concentration of dialysis
Wow.
centers in America are in African American communities.
so if you live long enough and you don't go to jail, you're probably going to get dialysis. So what does
Because you're
that tell
going to
you?
get
No
the sugar.
one cares about
You're
you.
going to get the sugar. You know what the sugar
At the
is?
Dollar General,
No, the dollar sugar is diabetes
yeah.
because
but where
you're
are you
living
getting that
you're
at?
living in a food desert
Yes.
because there's no quality food in these communities. And let me give you an example. You just said something amazing. Back years ago, there was a legislative action sign called NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. At the time, Elaine Chao was the Secretary of Labor in America. She's currently married to the senator from Kentucky, Mitch McConnell. And the North American Free Trade Agreement sent manufacturing out of this country at an amazing rate. You go to Ferguson, Missouri, that had a major corporation. I think it might have been the Sunbeam Corporation. And they shifted their manufacturing out of Ferguson, and there were 5,000 or 6,000 jobs lost. You look at Flint, Michigan, Fisher Body, where there were 8,000 to 10,000 jobs. That went away, and guess what happened? You look at Gary, Indiana, U.S. Steelworks. That went away. There were 15,000 jobs gone. This type of job loss ruins communities. Again, thank you so much, everybody. I just want you to say, you tuned in again to the Robb Crocker Show. The Robb Crocker Show, this is our debut broadcast. I am just sitting in the Robb Crocker Show. Robb Crocker is your host. My name is Mr. Don. Oh, that's what the kids call me anyway over there in the park.
Uncle Don.
Uncle Don. And go ahead.
And we have a question that I'm going to read word for word because the details are very important in this question. What do you think about Trump trying to deport all immigrants when some of us just want to come to work and have a better future?
That's a very simple question. Donald Trump does not want to deport all illegal immigrants. Donald Trump wants people to be here legally. This country was founded on immigrants. But you know what those immigrants did? They learned about America. They knew the history about America. And at the end of the day, they loved America and they wanted to be American citizens. People are skewed because of what media and what newspaper says. That's a generalization statement. If you look at the border right now, there's more people coming up to the border because they fear Donald Trump's going to be reelected. Do things legal. The border is the United States of America's castle. If you own a home, that is your castle. It has walls around it. It has windows that lock. It has a door on it that locks. You can look out, but you're not inviting everybody in. That's what the United States border is. We want people to come here and to help this country be better. But you got to do it in a way that's legal. You got to do it in a way that is fair to where you don't jump. It's no different than going to Disney, Gonzo. You get in there and you jump in front of 500 people. What are those 500 people going to do to you?
Whip your ass. Screaming at you and say, get this guy out of line.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But I absolutely agree. There's no problem with people immigrating to this country. This country was built on immigration. We have learned a lot from different cultures. We have built up this great nation.
This country was built on legal
Right,
immigration.
exactly. Immigration is not a problem. Legal immigration is not a problem. But if you're coming into this country illegally, jumping in front of the line, we can't vet you. We don't know who you are. If you're a bad person coming into this country, we don't want bad people coming into this country. And there are bad people out there.
No. Let me just say this. You can go to the border and you can interview 1,000 people coming across the border. Mm-hmm. How many are engineers? How many are doctors? How many are lawyers? How many are quality individuals fleeing their countries? None.
Those are the ones coming in legally. They do it the right way. That's the thing. We want good people coming in the right way.
What you guys don't understand, people from Mexico, people from Honduras, they have tremendous heartburn from individuals and criminals coming in this country from Venezuela because it gives them a bad name because they all get bundled into one. That's the problem. This country has to have a border. We have to have boundaries. We have to have guidelines to help put the people in the right places. Just because you come here, look at the chaos that's been New York City, Chicago, Boston Airport. People don't have a place to stay. That's not good. We saw the media show you kids in cages. Were there really kids in cages? Well, if you want to see people in cages, go to the prisons and see people in cages who should not be in cages.
You know, you make an interesting point. The conversation about kids in cages, and that was one of the stronger presentations by the media that I saw as significant narrative. And then they're pointing to Donald Trump and many of the Republican leadership as the reason these kids were in cages. And we all know who was in charge when these kids allegedly were in cages. If you get arrested tonight on a DUI charge and your kid is in the back seat of your car in a car seat, the state agency takes custody of your child. When you are engaged in illegal activity and there is a child present, that child will fall into the custody until such point someone was qualified or a family member can come and retreat that individual, that child. And I think it's so important that we know our history. It's amazing. I think social media has allowed some of the most ignorant individuals to have a voice. Some fools, some absolutely idiotic ass dickheads get a platform on social media and they become scholars without knowledge. And there's nothing worse than a SWK, a scholar without knowledge. It is a horrible, horrible voice because these people haven't studied anything.
Anyone listening tonight who disagrees about the border, do you have a Ring doorbell? Do you have Simply Safe? All we're trying to do is protect the greatest country in the world.
But think about this. I don't care where you live. We're broadcasting live from beautiful Lake Mary, Florida, and a fabulous ass place right now. This place is fabulous as hell. Brought to you by Basic Cigars. Basic Cigars, head over to where?
BasicCigar.com or thecigarguys.com.
And buy you some good ass cigars. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I don't care where you live or how secure you believe your neighborhood is. You still lock your door. You lock your door when you go home?
Every day.
Okay? Gonzo, rich as cream. He still locks his door when he go home.
Lock my door when I get home, lock my door when I leave. It's always locked.
And you set the alarm at night.
I do.
Yeah, you set the alarm at night on that big ass place where you live over there with them dogs and them buffaloes.
All right, guys,
He got
let's
a
change. So let's get to
buffalo
a
in
different
his yard.
topic.
All right, so
this topic right here.
This dude got a buffalo in his yard and he
This
still
topic
locked the
right
door.
here-
If you got a buffalo in your yard and you lock the door, come on, man.
This topic right here
Yeah.
has impacted all of us this week. And it shows the vulnerability in how we could be put on our knees within a matter of minutes and hours. In this country, this past week, we had two different companies fail the American people. CrowdStrike and Microsoft. They supposedly were installing a new update. Well, that update created a blue screen, and it managed to shut down airlines, hospitals unless it was a critical item, banks, ATMs, you could not get cash out, and phone services in different areas. So, is this a preface of what's coming to show you how weak we really are?
I think that it definitely was just, it wasn't just an accident. I think we're seeing a lot more of these issues come up, issues that we really haven't had to deal with before. Issues are coming up a lot more often. I do agree with your point that it's definitely showing how unsecure we really are in our day-to-day lives. One thing goes wrong and it impacts a lot of people. Like you said, hospitals, the airports, banks.
Imagine leaving your house in the morning and everything is normal. You get to work, then somehow the computers go down. Your phone stops working. Those are your lifelines in today's society. So if that happens, what's your first reaction? Most people don't carry cash anymore. Then you go to the ATM. You can't get money out. Panic sets in. Cars will be on the side of the road. When you go to the gas station and they won't take your credit card, you don't have cash to buy gas. You're going to leave your car on the side of the road to walk home because your phone's not going to work. We have never been more vulnerable than we are right now. And I don't know what the answer is, but I know that people should be prepared when the system crashes, because it's going to crash.
And I don't know if it's the actual system or the false flags that we have been presented with, Gonzo. Look, you can tell me what you want to tell me about a 10-year-old company, 12-year-old company, 13-year-old company called CrowdStrike that has the ability to stall the nation. When you have a company that is ran by a non-American that has the ability to stall the nation, pretty much a brand new entity that had everybody panicking in New York and many of the major markets. See, I got this thing that I'm living with right now, and I want y'all to pray for me. If y'all pray, I ain't leaving the neighborhood. And you better get some bullets and some Spam. Because I'm living on bullets and Spam.
Real quick, too, we've got about 10 minutes left. The people want to know, real quick, our opinion on the assassination attempt on President Trump.
Well, I find it very interesting that 1 in 3 people think that it was faked. I personally was watching it with my own eyes. I saw how it went down. Do I think there's more to the story? I do. But Donald Trump was several millimeters away from losing his life. And if he would have lost his life that day, the chaos that would have ensued in this country would have been detrimental.
What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I'm still doing my own research. I've been doing research on this for quite some time. I think there's more than one shooter. I think there's more than one entity involved. I think there's more things that'll meet the eye. I think there's more things that'll come out in the next few weeks before the DNC will happen. There's a lot of things I think that'll unveil itself
Yeah.
and help sway the votes correctly, where they should be.
I definitely don't believe that it was staged.
No.
I believe that it was, to some degree, maybe planned or allowed to happen. If you look at everything that's come out within the past week, you can definitely see that this was the security was not 100% there. There were definitely areas that should have been more secure. We've watched the head of Secret Service being basically interrogated by Congress.
Yeah.
And we've been shown her incompetency.
And she stepped down.
She did eventually. Took long enough. But there's so much evidence out there to show that this was definitely no accident. This wasn't a random crazy guy that just came out of nowhere and was lucky. They allowed this to happen, and it didn't go the way they wanted to, thank God. But there's definitely more that meets the eye. I think we're going to learn more, like Jared said, in the coming days. And what I got to say about not just this situation, but any situation that is coming out in the news today or on social media is don't take everything as fact. Do your own research and make sure that what you're seeing is actually factual. And if it's not, look further, because there's a lot of fake news out there. There's a lot of media outlets that are twisting the narrative and making it beneficial for their agendas.
But you know, it's interesting. I grew up in a country that I've seen change in such a way. What happened to 20 years ago or 30 years ago when if you see a guy like Trump who is being attacked on every side? People 20 years ago, 25 years ago would have raised their hand and asked the question, why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Why? What's up with this dude? What does he know? What does he know? They went after his money. They indicted him for 34 counts and yada, yada, yada. And now they're trying to kill him. Where the America I grew up in, the first question, Crocker, would be, why?
Yeah.
What's up with that? Now it's like, okay, what he did something.
Well, he must be a bad guy.
Right. The fact of the matter is, I think we have shifted so far into accepting the narrative in our daily lives that we have become a part of the problem and not a part of the solution.
The problem is no different than when kids are children. You get in a clique, we don't like that girl. Well, that group gets bigger. That group gets bigger. Is there really anything wrong with the girl?
We've just been
Probably
told.
not.
It's like an echo chamber.
You've heard it, and you've heard it, and the more you hear it,
Surely it must be true.
absolutely. Me personally, why is he running for president? What is his game? He hasn't received any money from China. He hasn't received any money from Ukraine. To me, I think he's a genuine American with wonderful children who want to do something good for this country.
In fact, if you look at Forbes, he's actually gone down. He's lost billions over the last 8 years, you know?
Yeah. And I will say, too, we've got about 5 minutes left if we want to do closing remarks.
Go for it.
I'll let
Listen
y'all- I'll let
again.
y'all go
Listen
first.
again. No. This is very important. Head over to the Robb Crocker Show on YouTube. Show will be back. Subscribe and like. Subscribe and like. email thecrockershow@gmail.com. If you want to send a message, you want Rob to talk about something that's been heavy on your heart in the next broadcast, thecrockershow@gmail.com. And again, we thank you so much for popping in with us. What's your last remark?
I enjoyed being here. It's a great show. We definitely have more topics to talk about. I definitely think we can go on from just 1 hour to like 3 hours if we really wanted
you know
to.
that, right.
But these are really good topics covered today, and hope we talk about it more often.
Okay, Gonzo.
Yeah, I will say thank you both for this opportunity. I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm looking forward to seeing where the show goes. And at the end of the day, like I said, just don't take everything as factual when you hear it right off the bat. Take your time, wait a little bit, see what other, real facts come out, and study what's going on. Look at what's really going on before you make an opinion based just from someone else saying it. Someone of authority telling you what to think.
I want to say again, thank you, Rob, so much, man. Your voice is being heard across the nation. We appreciate it. We thank the Cigar guys for allowing us and allowing us to use their facility and allowing us to smoke these wonderful Basis cigars. Head over to basiscigars.com. Head over to cigarguys.com. And this is very important to me that I say this. We have to move away because I recall as a child my grandma saying, "In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man reigns king." And for final remarks, our friend Robb Crocker.
Again, I'd like to thank Basis Cigar, and it goes back to friendship. When you meet someone, take the time to talk to them. Take the time to learn about them, because you never know that the friendship that may come that we came. So I thank both of you. But I ask all of you tonight, as you go to bed, what matters to you? What can you do to make yourself happy? Is there anything that's going on that's heavy on your heart? Why is it heavy on your heart? Because everyone tries to divide us, but we all need to realize that we're more alike than we are different. Because white, black, Hispanic, Asian, it does not matter. We're all here in the greatest country in the world. So ask yourself, when you go to sleep tonight, what can you do to make this country better? Thank all of you for being here tonight. Please subscribe. Please like.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can stay updated with when the new show comes out.
And I thank you so much again. I thank everybody for joining us. Thank you. Please tell your friends about this broadcast. For myself, Jared, for Gonzo, and for our friend, the leader of this crazy nonsense conversation that you're going to see again, Robb Crocker. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Have a good night.